Atochin missing chitab Kalenjin ketaun tetutiet nebo Kass Mashinani kainenyu ko Victor Korir. Ole kakomwa Deputy Chief of Staff Eliud Owalo kole nyalu ketoi tetutiet nekikoitoi konunoik en ministries ak departments chebo serikali cheindoi en yaetab boisionik amwa Owalo kole asikoba tai boisionikab serikali ko magat kikoito konunoik cheboto tesetab rabinik chekikochin departments chemiten barak boisionikwak ak keipchi kokwoutik kora ministries ak kebeberwek alak chebo serikali chemiten ngweny boisionikwak. Ng'ololin en tuyet agenge nekakiyai en komosta nebo Nanyuki ole kabotokei ak kandoik alak cheboto minister nebo cooperatives Wycliffe Oparanya.
I was here on behalf of the performance management and delivery management function in government to work with the Ministry of Cooperatives to see how we can strengthen the performance management framework and the performance contracting framework within the ministry, and also take stock of what the ministry has done so far and prioritize what needs to be done for the remainder of the activity period, that is between now and 2027, which is the current term of the fifth administration. From a performance management perspective, we are working with all line ministries to institutionalize performance management and performance contracting. That's why you see the CS convened everybody within the ministry, both PSS, all the CEOs of the parastatals, heads of departments, and everybody, top leadership within the state corporations under the ambit of the Ministry of Cooperatives, so that we move together as a team by making sure that everybody understands the entire performance management framework, starting all the way from strategic planning to performance management, to performance contracting, to performance evaluation, and finally performance appraisal at individual levels, so that everybody within the ministry moves in tandem. Moving forward, we also want to tie performance management to reward management, to the extent that those ministries which excel in performance will get certain rewards. But equally, those ministries which are perpetual non-performers will also face sanctions. If we tie performance management to reward management, that is when we will have an impetus for performance management to be linked to productivity improvement, because people then will have the impetus to work hard and harder, because they know that better performance attracts rewards and underperformance attracts sanctions in equal measure.
Koityoge emetab Kenya ak emotinwek alak chebo ng'wony en kabwatetab betut nekiboisien en kakimitetab pimanetab tuguk en oret neititaat, noto ko World Metrology Day. Kaindochi igoratak kibagengeit nebo koronindab tuguk ne naat ko Kenya Bureau of Standards nekamwa kole bo komonut keyai pimanetab tugukab mung'aret en oret nemagat asimabit koimutik alak tugul. Komiten igorata sirindet neo en ministry nebo mung'aret Dr. Juma Mukwana, nebo ng'echeret en kibagengeit noto bo National Standards Council Dr. Chris Wamalwa ak Managing Director nebo Kenya Bureau of Standards Esther Ngari.
KEBS is a national reference center, and this is very critical, particularly when it comes to international trade. So KEBS adds so much value when it also comes to matters of healthcare. As you are aware right now, when it comes to diagnostics, people are using different machines. KEBS, through its metrology department, is at the forefront in terms of calibrating these machines. So in case of any error, actually you can see the difference can be life and death. So we celebrate this and we salute KEBS, the entire management and the staff, and the world, as we wish you all a happy Metrology Day.
150 years since the signing of the Meter Convention. The theme for the day is measurements for all, at all times, for all people. We are recognizing the importance of measurement, accurate measurements in everyday life, in whatever we do.
KEBS is very important for creating local entrepreneurs, for creating local manufacturing, and for us, what we are looking at is what is the work of metrology and standards in building our manufacturing, in building our exports, and creating prosperity for the people of Kenya and the people of Africa. And the important thing is how do we use these standards to manufacture more, to export more, and in the process create prosperity for the young people and for the rest of the nation and for Africa. And for us, we wish everyone a happy World Metrology Day.
Chitab Kalenjin kimache ketokchingei bunge nebo Senate ole testai ng'alalet noton netinyegei ak bilit noton nebo Division of Revenue Bill nebo 2025. Nito ko ng'atutiet anan bilit ne angot kisirto koek ng'atutiet kowendi kotononjin pcheetab legut noton nebo emet en kwenutab serikalit neo ak serikalishek chebo county, ako kikimuch kekoito betut netai anan kimong bill notok en arawetab somok kenyini ak kesoman en kasarta netai en bunge nebo National Assembly en tarikit 14 arawetab somok en kenyini. En bill notok ko miten rabinik che magat kepchei en kwenutab bunge anan serikalit notok po national government ak chebo county, chotok rabinik chete trillion 2.8 ako mache konam en chotok serikalit neo trillion 2.4 asikochi counties silingishek trillion anan billion 400 ak mut, ako nito ko teset noton nebo bilionishek 17 ngekerchin ak chekanyor counties en kenyit nebo 2023-2024. Miten kora rabinik chebo equalization fund chotok ko billion 10 cheboto kora silingishek billion 7 chotok ko kebeberta nebo buch kenuch mut notok nebo allocation ak silingishek trillion 2 anan billion 2.7 chotok che kiyokse. Ako en inguni kotestai ng'alalet en bunge notok po Senate neng'ololi nguni koyokere ko senator notok nebo county nebo Narok notok ko Ole Kina. Ole en nguni kokomuch komongei kora governors kobun kibagengeit noton neituitos governors nebo Council of Governors akobo kaimetab kei nemwoe kole moyome rabinik chotok kikimuch kitobonji counties ako moche icheket totokai ng'alalet ak bunge koboto kora kibagenge nebo Commission of Revenue Allocation asikimuch ketes rabinik chebendi counties kosubkei ak netindoi boisionik chechang chemokyingei kosuldechi biikab emet en counties cheterter. Kibendi kekose kit netestai en bunge notok po Senate asiketestai ak tetutiet nebo Kass Mashinani.
The amount of money that we had proposed and we went through mediation back and forth for the last DORA was only going to be about 405 billion. But we were pushed down, even after those mediation, we were pushed down to a figure of about 387. Now, let's just be realistic. We have had an agreement between our party ODM and KK that we are going to endeavor to ensure that we send at least 450 billion to the counties. Why did we have this agreement? Because we are aware, we are alive to the fact that there are these undiscretionary expenditures that must be taken care of. Because if you are deducting money from an employee and you yourself as an employer are not able to remit the 30 billion that you have deducted because you do not have enough money to pay your pending bills or to introduce any other development, then what are you going to be doing? Mr. Speaker, sir, we are continuing to dig a deeper hole when it comes to an issue of our fiduciary responsibility. It is about time, Mr. Speaker, that we ask ourselves whether these debates and whether the position we take as a Senate is a position that we all understand, that we are fighting for our counties to be able to get money so that there are no pending bills, so that also they can be able to complete the cycle whereby you deduct statutory deductions, you remit them to allow the government to continue raising funds. Mr. Speaker, one of the biggest challenges that I see is that sometimes there is a huge disconnect. And I strongly believe that there is a time that we should, this House, the Committee of Budget of the National Assembly and the Committee of Budget of the Senate should actually sit together and try to make sense of the DORA. Before it comes here, we waste time, we debate, we try to drill some sense into how money should be divided using the Constitution. But we seem to be getting nowhere. We are trying to drill wisdom to the Committee of Budget of the National Assembly. That there's no way that you're going to come here and say that you're proposing to give counties 405 billion, yet alone. If you are to take these undiscretionary expenditures, like the housing levy, like the SHIF, like the NSSF, like also other expenditures, there's no way, this 31 billion, there's no way you can be able to support these counties. Even if you take the 387 plus the 31 billion, that gives you 418 billion. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to be candid enough that if we are supporting devolution, we do it with facts. We put facts on the table and we try to educate these people on the need to ensure that we maintain a fiduciary responsibility. Mr. Speaker, the reason why a lot of people blame the control of budget is because they don't read the Constitution. They don't read the laws. You know, we were here the other day arguing about money being sent to Nyamira County. And some of us were busy blaming the control of budget for releasing money to 2 different assemblies. Yet we have a law that all of us must read and understand. If you read Section 103 and Section 104 of the PFM Act, it is quite clear. It says 103 says establishment of the county treasury. 104 says that the head of the county treasury shall be the CC in charge of finance. And only the CC in charge of finance can be able to send requisitions to the control of budget. So we need to be clear here, because sometimes we talk, yet we don't have facts. Today, I want to demystify this issue of the division of revenue bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, this constitution, which all of us read on a daily basis, it's quite clear. If you go to Article 201, Article 202, in fact, Article 201 talks about a fiduciary responsibility. If you look at 201, Mr. Speaker, it says the principles, the following principles shall guide the aspects of public finance in the Republic. And I refer clearly to the public finance system shall promote an equitable society, and in particular, the burden of taxation shall be shared fairly. Revenue raised nationally shall be shared equitably among national and county government. And finally, expenditures shall promote the equitable development of the county, including by making special provision for the marginalized groups and other areas. Now, we talk about the Equalization Fund, Mr. Speaker. Equalization Fund already, and there's a mistake in this report, Mr. Speaker, and I hope that when a report is tabled, we go through it and we look at it. We do not own, Equalization Fund is not owed 2.7 trillion. It is only owed 27 billion. So that should be corrected in this report. That is the first thing. Now, the Committee of Finance is proposing that the money which should be set aside for the Equalization Fund should be 9 billion shillings. Already, there's a debt of 26 billion. How are we going to resolve this debt? We are going to compound debt over debt. We need to be realistic. If we are not able to raise that money, in fact, this is where I differ with the Committee on Finance. Because if we already owed 26 billion, you are asking, what has been proposed is 7 billion. You are asking, saying, add an additional 2 billion. So 27 plus 7 is 34. If you add another 2, is 36 billion. Yet, there is a sunset clause on this Equalization Fund. The Constitution is actually quite clear in terms of the Equalization Fund. I think it's Article 2, is it 204? 204, it talks about the Equalization Fund, and it sets a sunset clause. For 20 years. And that 20 years is lapsing very soon. So the question that I haven't had the Finance Committee responding to, or any of my colleagues, and I'll seek some wise counsel from my colleague, Senator Eddy, is that what happens if we don't amend the Constitution to be able to extend the time of the Equalization Fund and the 20 years is coming to an end? What happened? Yet, the money has still not been paid. Is this money going to be in a fund which exists? Or is it going to be in a fund, or it's going to be in a fund that exists? So these are questions that we must ask ourselves diligently. Ask ourselves and see where is the problem and how are we going to resolve this problem. Then it comes to the issue of accountability, Mr. Speaker. We are all complaining that projects are stalling. You know, there are so many projects which the national government has initiated. And when it comes to the issue of Narok County, Mr. Speaker, I want to be very candid and very clear on this. There's an airport which is a responsibility between both the national government and the county government. And I applaud my county government of Narok and the Ministry of Transport because, of course, they have looked at issues to do with Article 187 of the Constitution in terms of a function which is for national government being undertaken by another level of government. And coming and saying, we need this service. If the national government cannot afford it, we, the people of Narok, who I consider ourselves very rich, can be able to afford to build the terminal. So these projects must be completed. You know, when you initiate the project, let's complete them. This is why I said the other day, the contractor, and I want to call upon the Ministry of Transport and KAA, please move to site because you're not on the site. I was there 2 days ago. I'll be there again on Friday. I'll be a thorn in your flesh to make sure that these projects are completed. That is the only way we are going to be able to make sense. Mr. Speaker, sir, a couple of days ago, I listened to my colleague, Senator Kachwang, and he was raising a very valid point. And Mr. Senator Kachwang really asked a very simple question. He said, why is it that when governors are exiting, they start launching huge projects? They budget huge projects. And this is when the governor is exiting from serving a county for 10 years. When he's leaving, he now launches a big project which becomes a burden to the other incoming governor. In Narok, we had a similar problem with the hospital and the medical technical training college, which was officially opened by the president the other day. Save from that technical college, the hospital had to be taken over by the national government because it was a project that could not be managed by the county government of Narok. We had a similar case in Kakamega County, where the level 5 hospital, which was being built by the then governor Paranya, became, a white elephant project that could not be completed. So when it comes to the issue of accountability, when it comes to the issue of financial management, all of us, Mr. Speaker, must be alive to the fact that there are limitations. There are things that we can be able to do, and there are things that we cannot be able to do. If we are not alive to the fact that there are limitations, we will be unfair to the current and the future generations. People will commit suicide because their pending bills have not been paid, and yet there's nothing we are doing. We passed a motion here, but being implemented, it becomes a challenge. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, when we are talking about amending the Constitution, there are things that we've seen that do not work in this Constitution when it comes to financial management. There are a lot of companies that collect revenue on behalf of county governments. And since they are required by Section 109 of the PFM Act and our Constitution to be able to remit 100% of the money that they collect to the county revenue fund, for them to be able to bill for their services, whenever they bill for their services, they are not paid. So it creates a problem. So you want this person to raise money for you. But then when he has raised that money for you, you don't want to pay him. Number two, the law says the shareable revenue, the money shall be considered, the Auditor General, the National Assembly shall consider the most current audited financial statements. But guess what? Because we are uncouth, because we are insincere, because we do not subscribe to the principle of, financial
Kitab Kalenjin en ngunon kebendi kenyoru kamung'et nenwach en Kass Mashinani. Matilote mungiwek sin matyan ketesta ak tetutiet.